She dated an NFL star for 5 years. He left her for Taylor Swift, and suddenly, she's the one everyone's dragging online. But the real story? It's messier than you think. Stick around because you won't believe what happens next. When Travis Kelce and Kayla Nicole called it quits in May 2022, the gossip mill went into overdrive. Their relationship had always been a roller coaster, on again, off again for 5 long years. Many assumed it was only a matter of time before they reconciled. But the story took a sharp turn in the summer of 2023, when Travis was spotted with someone new: Taylor Swift. The internet collectively went, "Whoa!" By October 2023, Kelce and Swift were seen together again, this time making it official at an after-party following Saturday Night Live. Around this moment, Kayla Nicole began facing online backlash. Suddenly, she was the target of criticism and trolling, even though, conventionally, these narratives usually place the man under scrutiny. Society often has a script. When a man loses a gorgeous partner, the world labels him as careless or foolish, the one who let her slip away. But in this case, the script flipped. Kayla Nicole found herself bearing the brunt of judgment. After 5 years together, many assumed she would remain the winning side of the relationship. But Travis moved on, and in doing so, sparked a storm of comparison. Taylor Swift brought a certain level of societal weight to the equation: immense wealth, fame, and status that only added pressure to Kayla Nicole's already public life. In the shadow of Swift's celebrity, Nicole's own identity and worth were unfairly scrutinized. Supporters quickly noticed the imbalance, arguing that the comparisons were not only harsh, but fundamentally unjust.
Kayla Nicole is being called ghetto, ran through, and bitter, all because she dated an athlete and dared to move on publicly. And if memory serves me well, I've only known Kayla Nicole to be with Travis Kelce. I haven't heard about her being with anybody else. So how was she ran through?
Kayla Nicole had only ever been with Travis Kelce, but suddenly, she was being measured against Taylor Swift, a woman who had famously dated half of Hollywood and turned those experiences into chart-topping anthems. For Swift, heartbreak became art. For Nicole, it became unfair scrutiny. The dynamic here carried layers of social bias. In this story, a Black woman had been in a relationship with a high-profile athlete, yet when he moved on to a white superstar, the criticism fell disproportionately on her. Society was quick to excuse Swift, while Nicole bore the brunt of judgment simply because of the color of her skin. The conversation around this injustice sparked debate then, and continues even now, about how unfairly Kayla Nicole was treated. Fast forward, and the comparisons didn't stop. Nicole faced a wave of scrutiny that went far beyond a simple breakup. Losing Travis Kelce was painful enough, but seeing him linked to a music icon added another layer of emotional weight. During this turbulent period, Kayla Nicole leaned heavily on her community for support, primarily the women who could understand and empathize with her experience: Black women.
Guys, Kayla here. It's always been really important for me to use my platform not to create division, but to elevate and unite women, Black women specifically. So I prepared a letter and would like to share it with you today. Dear Black girl, they may call you a traitor for falling in love. You'll hope the ones closest will protect you, but you will quickly find out that people don't protect what they don't value. They'll say you're too much, too provocative, too boisterous, too outspoken, and in the same breath tell you that you're not enough.
This is where things get really layered. Kayla Nicole leaned into a narrative that resonates with many Black women: the constant societal message that you're not enough. Over the years, Black women have often been told they fall short in countless ways. Yet there's a long tradition of lifting one another up, giving motivational talks and sharing empowering messages. For Nicole, this became a cornerstone of her public persona following her split with Travis Kelce, leaning into a protect Black women, love Black women ethos. On the surface, it seemed like she was connecting with her audience, saying, "I've been hurt, but we rise together." But social media is relentless, and the internet doesn't just take narratives at face value. Questions arose. Did Kayla Nicole genuinely love and support Black women, or was it selective empathy, something she expressed only when circumstances were tough for her? Digging deeper, the answer was complicated. She opened up on Angel Reese's podcast, recounting a past heartbreak. She had been dating a man who dumped her via text, only to start dating a famous singer-actress shortly after. The breakup was messy and public. Nicole had even moved to New York to be with him. And then, in a move that left many stunned, she dressed up as the woman who had replaced her for Halloween that same year. On the surface, it seemed petty and immature, especially for someone advocating Black female empowerment. Many argued that publicly sharing this decision undermined the very community she claimed to protect. Fast forward to the present. Halloween came around again, and this time, Teyana Taylor, Nicole's contemporary, dressed up as Toni Braxton, performing the iconic song "He Wasn't Man Enough." But the gesture wasn't about celebrating Braxton. It was a subtle jab at Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. The message was clear. You ended up with him, but he wasn't man enough for me, and this is why. Despite Kayla Nicole's denials, her history of past Halloween costumes told a consistent story. Social media users, particularly Swifties, noticed, dug up old tweets, and even prompted Nicole to deactivate her Twitter account. What started as a seemingly harmless costume had ballooned into a highly public debate about her motives, authenticity, and whether her actions aligned with her proclaimed values of supporting Black women. The drama didn't end with a Halloween costume. Swifties, Taylor Swift's notoriously devoted fan base, dug into Kayla Nicole's Twitter history, reaching as far back as 2010. And what they found wasn't flattering. Her old tweets, some posted when she was just a teenager or in her early 20s, painted a very different picture of her online persona. For 2 years, fans noticed Kayla taking subtle shots at both Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, especially around high-profile moments, like when the Eagles defeated the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The pattern became clear. A mix of passive-aggressive jabs and personal commentary aimed at high-profile figures she'd been connected to. Some tweets were surprisingly reflective. For instance, in February 2012, she wrote about urging Black people to modernize themselves and seize opportunities, an arguably positive and socially conscious sentiment. But others were far more eyebrow-raising. One post speculated about getting cosmetic surgery and whether she could become the next Nicki Minaj. At that time, Kayla was only around 19 years old, young and experimenting with identity in the public digital space. Other tweets were more concerning. Some mocked people with disabilities or commented on women's appearances in ways that came off as cruel. She even openly wrote about future romantic strategies, joking about refusing prenups with star athletes and confessing a preference for dating taken men over single ones. She chronicled her early fascination with football players, revealing she had studied the sport with her stepdad specifically to flirt and connect with athletes. By 2014, around the time she would have graduated from Pepperdine University, some of her posts veered into problematic territory, including racial and gendered commentary that many found offensive. The collection of tweets created a complex picture of a young woman navigating fame, attraction, and social media, sometimes immaturely, sometimes provocatively, and sometimes hurtfully. Some of Kayla Nicole's older tweets show a stark contrast between her public persona and what she shared online in her teens and early 20s. In one series of posts, she joked about people's appearances in ways that many found offensive, using racialized language and mocking others for their hair or features. Comments like, "Dwight here nappy as F," and similar tweets drew attention for their casual cruelty, even as she later promoted the mantra of "respect Black women," "protect Black women." Other posts revealed troubling contradictions. In 2011, she wrote about finding white men checking her out as out of the ordinary and expressed frustration when Black men on set didn't show her attention. These patterns suggested a preference for white men, particularly athletes, while disparaging Black men, even as she publicly claimed to champion Black women's empowerment. When these tweets resurfaced, many fans rushed to defend her, arguing they were from a younger, less mature period. Still, the contrast between her public statements about supporting Black women and her private online commentary sparked significant scrutiny. It painted a picture of someone navigating fame, desire, and identity in ways that were sometimes inconsistent and controversial.
Anybody who grew up or was born 95 and below, 80s, 70s, saying shit like that was regular. Like, there's nothing, it's not like she was preaching hate. Y'all act like she was like, gay people must die. No, she said she loves gay people, but not enough to have a child of her own like that. And what if that's her belief? So what? If she was 17 years old or 18 years old and said, damn, if I have a gay kid, I would disown him. That's probably what she would have done back then. Talking about the girl got 5 more minutes of praying before praying hella loud through the walls before she tell her Buddha's not real. She still may believe Buddha's not real. Do you agree with her approach? No. Okay, but she was a child.
When it comes to Kayla Nicole, it's fair to acknowledge that everyone has a past, and we all say things we're not proud of when we're younger. In our teenage or early adult years, we often experiment with identity, push boundaries, and sometimes make public statements that, in hindsight, are immature or misguided. Social media has only amplified this tendency. Every post, tweet, or comment becomes part of a permanent digital record that can resurface years later. Mistakes happen, and growth is an essential part of life. Learning from our missteps and evolving as individuals is what defines maturity, yet the challenge arises when past behavior continues to intersect with present circumstances. In Kayla Nicole's case, the real issue extends beyond simply having tweeted thoughtless remarks or posted insensitive comments years ago. What drew attention and criticism was the way she continued to take passive-aggressive shots at high-profile figures like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. The timeline of this drama is crucial to understanding why people reacted so strongly. After breaking up with Travis Kelce, a superstar NFL athlete, Kayla Nicole faced intense public scrutiny simply for existing in the shadow of his newfound relationship with one of the world's most famous musicians. Taylor Swift's fame, cultural impact, and wealth made the comparison seem inevitable to the public. But the online commentary that emerged often unfairly focused on Kayla Nicole, rather than examining the dynamics of the situation. Rather than choosing a path of silence or private healing, Kayla Nicole repeatedly addressed the situation in ways that appeared to some as subtle digs or veiled criticisms of both Kelce and Swift. These interactions, particularly in a space as permanent and public as social media, naturally invited pushback from fans and followers, who quickly highlighted perceived inconsistencies between her public statements about empowerment and her private commentary. This brings us to a central lesson in both social and emotional intelligence. If you don't want conflict, don't provoke it. Social media is unforgiving. It magnifies minor slights and amplifies conflicts that, in a pre-digital era, might have remained private or inconsequential. By posting comments that could be interpreted as passive-aggressive or provocative, Kayla Nicole effectively invited scrutiny. At the same time, by portraying herself as a victim of circumstance, she created a narrative that was vulnerable to critique and contradiction. The public expects authenticity, especially from figures who claim to champion empowerment and social justice causes. When actions appear inconsistent with those claims, the response can be swift and unforgiving. Consider the role of timing in all of this. The period following her breakup with Kelce coincided with high-profile media events, including the Super Bowl, celebrity appearances, and public sightings of Kelce and Swift together. Each new public moment acted as a catalyst for renewed commentary, creating a feedback loop where every minor action was dissected, analyzed, and judged in the court of public opinion. In this context, Kayla Nicole's decision to maintain a public presence while expressing her frustrations, even subtly, kept her in the spotlight in ways that may not have been conducive to personal growth or healing. The internet, after all, does not forgive easily, especially when the stakes involve beloved public figures with devoted fan bases. Deleting her social media profiles was an understandable response to this constant scrutiny, but it also signaled a recognition that the conflict had escalated beyond manageable levels. For many observers, this action was a tacit admission that continued engagement with critics or detractors was unsustainable. In essence, social media is a double-edged sword. It allows individuals to express themselves, cultivate influence, and build communities, but it also provides a platform for relentless judgment, particularly when one's statements contradict previously established public narratives. In Kayla Nicole's case, her attempts to navigate the line between personal expression and public accountability were fraught with challenges that, ultimately, culminated in her retreat from the online space. Another dimension to consider is the psychological impact of public scrutiny on personal growth. When your private experiences become part of the global conversation, every emotion, anger, frustration, hurt, becomes performative by necessity. Individuals in this position must develop extraordinary emotional resilience to avoid being overwhelmed. Kayla Nicole, like many public figures, was navigating grief, loss, and personal transition in real time, while under the microscope of social media audiences. For anyone, this is an inherently stressful experience. For someone in the public eye, the pressure is magnified exponentially. Acting out or taking subtle jabs may have been a coping mechanism, an imperfect but human response to being constantly observed, evaluated, and compared. Yet, there comes a point where personal accountability intersects with public perception. Travis Kelce has moved on. He is no longer part of her life, and the chapter of their relationship is closed. Continuing to act out of hurt, resentment, or jealousy, especially in a manner that appears calculated or performative, risks reinforcing negative perceptions rather than demonstrating maturity or emotional growth. At 34, Kayla Nicole has reached an age where emotional regulation, self-reflection, and personal responsibility are expected norms in the eyes of the public. By clinging to past grievances in a public forum, her actions can appear childish or counterproductive, regardless of the legitimacy of her feelings. It's important, however, to balance critique with empathy. Losing a relationship, particularly one that has been a long-term part of your life, is a deeply emotional experience. The end of such a relationship often triggers grief, anger, and confusion, emotions that can manifest in unexpected ways. Additionally, being compared unfavorably to a globally famous figure like Taylor Swift compounds this pressure. For Kayla Nicole, navigating heartbreak while simultaneously being scrutinized for race, gender, and social positioning created a uniquely challenging environment, one that would test anyone's patience and self-control. Nevertheless, emotional maturity often requires stepping away from public commentary and allowing oneself to heal privately. Life moves forward, whether or not we choose to participate in every argument, critique, or comparison that arises. For Kayla Nicole, the path forward involves embracing personal growth, acknowledging past missteps, and resisting the temptation to engage in public spats that reinforce a narrative of victimhood rather than resilience. There will always be other opportunities for love, success, and fulfillment, but those opportunities require self-awareness, reflection, and the ability to move beyond past hurts. Ultimately, the story of Kayla Nicole is a cautionary tale for anyone navigating personal relationships in the age of social media. It highlights the tension between public perception and private experience, the permanence of online expression, and the ways in which emotional responses can be magnified in a digital context. Mistakes are inevitable, but growth requires acknowledgement, accountability, and an understanding of how one's actions resonate beyond the self. Kayla Nicole's experience underscores the importance of emotional intelligence, the power of discretion, and the value of letting go of what no longer serves you. The takeaway is clear. Moving on is not only necessary, it's healthy. Travis Kelce has chosen a different path, and that chapter is over. Holding on to resentment or continuing to provoke conflict serves no one. At 34, Kayla Nicole has the opportunity to redefine her narrative, rebuild her online presence with intention, and engage in relationships and communities in ways that reflect maturity and self-respect. Life inevitably includes setbacks, disappointments, and comparisons, but how one responds to them shapes personal growth and public perception. By stepping back, embracing accountability, and focusing on personal development, there is a path forward that is both empowering and sustainable. In the end, the story is about human complexity. Mistakes, missteps, and emotional reactions are all part of the human experience. What matters most is how we process them, learn from them, and translate that learning into actions that align with our values and aspirations. For Kayla Nicole, the next chapter, like it is for all of us, will be defined not by past mistakes, but by the choices she makes moving forward. Life is ever evolving, and there is always room for growth, healing, and new beginnings. At the end of the day, the story of Kayla Nicole is a mix of youthful mistakes, public scrutiny, and the challenges of navigating fame and relationships in the social media era. It's messy, it's human, and it's a reminder that words and actions, online or offline, carry consequences.